Let's talk about what happens after the spiritual awakening. And by spiritual awakening, I'm referring to that period where essentially you come to a period in your life where, whether it's an internal or external crisis, it could be both, leads to a massive shift in your paradigm that causes you to question, to essentially question your place in this world. And this experience is common, and it can last, a couple of weeks. It can last a couple of years. And it's usually precipitated by an event what's known as the dark night of the soul, where things really, really reach a boiling point. And it's completely different for everybody. And, what you experience during it can be different. But a lot of the common things are isolation, maybe losing, or just being in a position where you're not really wanting to be around old friend groups, old, places where you used to hang out. You're not necessarily inclined to hang out there anymore. Your energy has shifted, and the people that you used to hang around with, they can feel that energy shift. And as a result, there could be some conflict there. But eventually you start to learn, your awakening will push you towards what you need to do to actually, help yourself heal. And you'll begin to find direction. People who align with your new frequency will start to come into your orbit, and things start to look up. And like I said, it can last a couple of months, it can last a couple of years. For me, it was a couple of years. And just because of my personality, I feel like towards the end, I may have drug it out a bit, because I started to find comfort in the knowing of what was actually going on. So when things started to shift, it was like I started to feel that unfamiliarity, and I tried holding on to that frequency, and I feel like that may have had an impact on me, but that's another video. But after the awakening, you may find yourself on a path towards a completely, something different than you would have ever thought that you'd be doing, right? You may have new ambitions, like the goals that you previously had no longer mean as much to you. You want to head in a different direction. And, to someone who maybe knew you before your spiritual awakening, not necessarily right before, but like a couple of years before, for them to see you now, you'd be like a completely different person. That's the hallmark of, all right, you've now past that initial spiritual awakening. And afterwards, for me, towards the tail end of mine, where I'm trying to figure out what's going on, and I'm seeking out guidance everywhere I can. I'm reading books, listening to podcasts, and finding different, spiritual mentors wherever I can find them, because I was so isolated in my physical world. For me, it was a lot of, my head was so high in the clouds that I did not want to ever come back to just casual conversations about just the mundane routine things that just happen in life. For me, none of that held any kind of weight anymore. I used to watch football and things like that beforehand, and I'm now thinking I'm probably gonna just get packages to like try to push myself to watch, so I can have something to have a place to direct my focus when I need to. But I don't feel inclined anymore. I don't want to do anything that's not moving towards that version of me that I saw coming out of my spiritual awakening. And then I started finding about, this is like you talk about your Kundalini awakening, it's like a spiral, right? So you have this tumultuous period, and then you may have a period of peace and whatnot, and then you get back to a tumultuous period, and it feels like it's another awakening. And maybe that's the point where I'm hitting now, a second spiritual awakening, where I'm being forced to ground myself. I'm being forced to, in a real manner of speaking, define who I am. And I have the opportunity to assign myself the characteristics that would lead towards my fulfilled manifestation. But there's a lot of hesitancy there because of all that would need to happen for that to actually take place. So for me, talking about it like this gives me clarity on what's going on, in addition to the things that I do, the knowledge that I study. But I hope that, just hearing about what I'm going through spiritually, how I'm, handling what I'm going through, maybe there's something in there that can help you wherever you are in your journey. Maybe you haven't even hit one spiritual awakening yet. I would say just keep learning. Don't try to force anything. That things happen in their own natural time. Don't try to force anything. And that's what I'm learning right now. As I'm not being quick to assign names to myself. And even when I'm in a situation where I have to make a clear definition for something, or provide some deep clarity, I know how to do that in the context of the framework of my fulfilled dream. And to be honest, that's a little important, because early on, that was really uncomfortable. I was in a situation that was completely removed from where I actually wanted to be. So to do anything within the context of my fulfilled vision, so to try to act as if, I looked like a lunatic, because I was so far away from where it is that I needed to actually be. And then, having done a lot of motion and moved and having my energy shift to now I'm in certain groups that I would not have thought I'd be in before, it's completely different, because now when I share those things, I'm closer to that. I'm much closer to that than I am to where I was just, a few years back, or in the like dead middle of my spiritual awakening. So if you are in the middle of your spiritual awakening and things are really, really tough for you right now, I say keep taking action. Keep taking massive action, because you'll get out of that, and it gets better, and then cycle starts again, and you got to figure it out again. But you understand what you're doing, and you've seen the fruit of occupying a better state. You've seen what it's like when you raise your vibration, and you know what it's like when you feel really, really low. So just keep moving forward. You got this. I promise you. I promise you. I promise you. I promise you. You do. We're all here for a reason. We all have our own purpose, and these awakenings happen to shake us up from our rhythm, right? As Napoleon Hill talks about hypnotic rhythm and outwitting the devil. Sometimes we can get so ingrained in a lifestyle that we don't even realize that this pattern is going to keep us away from what would truly make our soul fulfilled. And then you have that spiritual awakening to just uproot you from all the things that you planted that are not really for your highest good. So just keep taking action. The things that seem so far-fetched to you now, I promise you, in a couple of months, you could be in rooms with people that you never dreamed that you'd be in. You could be performing activities that were just thoughts to you before, that you didn't even see a bridge to. Doors will open for you that you didn't even know existed. I promise you. Just keep moving forward. I love you. I want to see the fullest expression of you. This is The Spark.